All right, let's continue on with our decimal unit. Okay, so we're going to focus on looking at images today and putting all those images together into decimal notation. And then we're going to segue or move from doing that to actually looking at a number in decimal notation and then looking at a particular highlighted number and writing that specific notation or writing that number specifically with decimals and words. All right. So if we look at our grids, we have 5/10ths, 300ths, and 7,000ths. Remember, everything before our decimal point is our whole number. So if we wanted to write this in number notation, we would put a 1 and then a decimal point to signify that, yep, there are numbers that are coming after this whole number. So 1 is right. Now we need to figure out what place value comes right after our decimal. Is it the tenths, hundredths, or thousands? Yep, it is our tenths. Our tenths, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces out of 10 shaded. So we're going to write that as 0.5. Our next number to come after our tenths, would it be our hundredths or our thousands? Yeah, it'll be our hundredths. We have 3 rows highlighted. So 3. And then, of course, our last place value will be thousands. And for that number, we have 7. So we would read this number as, slow down, Ms. Weathersby, as 1 and 537. And what is our last place value? Thousands. I wouldn't go 1 and 5/10ths, 300, 7,000, because that makes no sense when you read it. Whenever we read a number in decimal notation, whatever is our last number is the last place value that we will say. So 1 and 537 thousandths. All right, now we're going to break down each number into its own decimal notation. First number, 5/10ths. When we write that by itself, it is simply 0.5, 5/10ths. Next number is 300ths. All right, we know that our 3 is our second number. We're going to put our decimal. Our first number is not going to be 5 because I didn't say 5300ths. I just simply said 300ths. So we're going to use our number that we use as a placeholder, which is 0, and then 3. And then our last number that we have is thousandths, 7,000ths. I'm not going to write 5 and 3 because I just want the number that's in the thousandths place. Again, our decimal, the number that we use as placeholder is 0, 0, 7. And that is how we take a word form of decimal notation and then we put it in actual number notation. All right, now let's switch gears a little bit. We have a number in number notation and we're going to specifically focus on all of our highlighted numbers and write those numbers with their decimal notation only. I'm not going to, in this number, which is 6 and 97 hundredths. I see that the 7 is highlighted, so I'm not even going to worry about the number in front of the decimal because I really don't care about that number. Sorry, hold on, you guys. My dog is a little kooky. And yes, there is a number before the 7, which is a 9. However, I don't care about the 9, but I am going to use my number, which serves as a placeholder, which is 0. So that's going to be 0 and 7. That is how I write 700ths. Next number we have is 545 and 933 thousandths. The number that I'm focusing on is the 3 in the thousandths place. So again, everything before the decimal, I don't care about. I'm going to put my decimal point. I'm only concerned about this highlighted number, which is 3. I'm going to use my 0 as my placeholder for my other 2 numbers because, again, I don't care about those numbers. But I'm going to write my 3 because it's in my third place. So this is how you write 3 thousandths. And then our last number that we're going to write, we have 876 and 132 thousandths. The number that I'm focusing on is the 1. Again, I don't care about what's in front of the decimal. So I'm just going to put a decimal place right here. I care about the highlighted number. That highlighted number is a 1. What place is it in? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. It's in the tenths place. So I'm just going to put a 1 and not even be bothered about the numbers that are behind it in the hundredths and thousandths place, because my focus is this number right here in the tenths place. If I wanted to write these in words, every number after the decimal place ends in THS. So this would be 7 hundredths. HUNDRED. THS hundredths. Whoop. Kind of sloppy. All right, right here, this would be thousandths. 1,000 with a THS on the end. And this number right here would be tenths. TEN with the THS on the end. Everything that comes after the decimal place always has a THS. That TH, bad boy digress, because it makes you stick out your tongue, always has a THS after it. If you see that THS after it, that is how you know that number comes after the decimal point. All right. See you guys tomorrow.